All right, all right. How y'all doing, everybody? How y'all doing? This is the Wood Dog, and this is your boy, and I'm just keeping it real. And because keeping it real is the only thing that I know how to do. And I'm going to be discussing a few topics today. I know it's been a minute. I know it's been a minute. I've been laying low, trying to get myself together, and just keeping my ears to the rail on content. So if you're new to my channel, just keeping it real, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Please like and subscribe. It helps out my channel. And I'm going to get right into it. A few things today. The first item that I'm going to get into today is the Wayne County Sheriff, Rafael Washington. He's at it again. The second thing I'm going to get into today is guns in the community and the attitudes with guns in the community and the privilege of guns. And another issue that I'm going to get into today is it's an issue that seems to be plaguing our our community, and it's getting people in more trouble than you know. And it's being under arrest and the responsibilities of you as a citizen, including myself, um, and the responsibilities of the police during an arrest. Because that's it clear. I'm not an attorney. I can only give you the information on that as it pertains to what I did and how I conducted myself as a police officer of over 30 years with the Wayne County Sheriff, and I'm now retired. And I'm loving every minute of it. Okay, Sheriff Raphael Washington, Wayne County Sheriff. That's in Wayne County, Michigan. It sits below Oakland County and sits above Monroe County in the state of Michigan. Just recently, I was made aware. Investigative reporter Ross Jones um, got a hold of an issue where the current Wayne County sheriff was soliciting from the public on social media, namely Facebook, wanting people to cash app um gifts and gratuities for his mother for her birthday. Now, first and foremost, I would like to say happy birthday to Miss Washington. She's an 86-year-old woman in our community, and God bless her. Anybody who lives that long deserves every bit of respect. But it seems like the Sheriff Raphael Washington doesn't respect his office as sheriff of Wayne County. And from his behavior from 2021, 2020, 2021 during COVID, doing a live Zoom hearing on April 19th, if I believe I'm correct. He was doing a Zoom hearing with the public, and his mother was in the background asking him some questions, and he was talking to her with so much disrespect, ignoring the fact that he was live on social media. So, if a man can't respect his own mother, who does he respect? This is about him and his behavior, you know. And when you're our police officer, you become privy to a whole lot of things that the normal citizen doesn't come across. You come across drugs, guns, property. You become acquainted with people that you wouldn't normally be acquainted with unless you was a police officer. But how can the Wayne County Sheriff, uh, holding the office that he holds as the so-called top law enforcement officer in Wayne County, be soliciting for a family member on social media? Police officers, while they are on the job or off the job. They cannot use their police influence or authority to accept gratuities. And that is a big no no to any law enforcement officer. It doesn't matter if you're a sheriff, a state trooper, a policeman, a constable, a court officer, a judge. You cannot accept gratuities because it looks like you're being bought off. And as of late, in the last year or two, ever since last year when Sheriff Raphael Washington was able to secure the election by a narrow margin above his opponents, Miss Joan Merriweather and Mr. Walter Epps. He barely squeaked by and won the election for Wayne County Sheriff, despite what he says are overwhelming uh, amount of votes put him in office, which we know that's not true. And respect and disregard for ethics and the rule of law concerning elected officials, namely a sheriff, his arrogance knows no bounds. Um, and to get into it real quickly before I go into the other items that I'm going to discuss today, ever since the Deputy Sheriffs Association, the Wayne County Deputy Sheriffs Association, secured their contract without him and his entire team's involvement, meaning that the Wayne County Deputy Sheriffs Association and the Sergeants and Lieutenants Union of Wayne County, that's the sergeants and lieutenants of the deputies, Union 3317, and the Wayne County Deputy Sheriff's Association, they were able to sit down and negotiate their contracts with the Wayne County CEO's office without any involvement from the sheriff or his team. That's unheard of. And when I was on the Wayne County Sheriff's Department, I think I worked maybe through 6 or 7 contracts in over a 30-year plus period. And yeah, we TA'd contracts, but we always had to go to arbitration on something because there was just a few articles in the contract that couldn't get settled by both sides. But this time, which has got to be a first, where in this era of striking now, everybody's going on strike. But the Deputy Sheriff's Association and the Sergeants and Lieutenants Union were able to secure a contract with the Wayne County CEO's office and didn't have to arbitrate not one single article. If that's not the spirit of cooperation, I don't know what is. And I'm very thankful that the Wayne County Executive assigned Mr. Assad Turfy and Mr. That's exactly what happened. But Sheriff Raphael Washington is now attacking the union again because they secured those contracts without him. He tries to squeak it in media. Oh, they're here. He's glad they got their contract. He's glad they got their due. Raphael Washington doesn't care. He's been attacking the deputy sheriffs ever since they secured that contract. The overtime for the deputies in that Wayne County jail is still running rampant as we speak. They hire new officers, they come in, they see the working conditions, and they rotate right back out the door. His chief of jails, Robert Dunlap, has ordered the officers to do continuous rounds inside the facility because they can't staff the jail properly. Now, if some of those hires that Raphael Washington hired would come into the jail like they supposed to per the union contract, you probably wouldn't have all those staff shortages that's causing deputies stress, causing the officers to have to work additional overtime, having to go to their physicians and get FMLA approvals just so they can go home and sleep. Sheriff Raphael Washington's got to go. He can't run his house. And if you want to hear anything further on Sheriff Raphael Rafael Washington, please go on my Facebook page. I got numerous videos on my Facebook page about his behavior and how he's been conducting himself. And lastly, if you remember, if you watch my last Facebook lives, if you go on my YouTube, click live and you'll see my Facebook live videos because I had videos I did back in 2016. But go to Facebook on my YouTube page, just keeping it real, and you'll see the videos where he hired one of his frat brothers. Case prevails. This particular individual, I originally had him under the name of James Kimbrough, but it's Damon Kimbrough. And he was loving to be able to maneuver without having to go to the jail and work in the jail per the contract for 6 months. Now it's 9 months. You have to work in the jail before you can work out. He was Rafael Washington kept him out of the jail despite a union grievance that's going to arbitration, and the union's going to win that. And the officer finally realized, Mr. Damon Kimbrough, that he could not maneuver in the jail like he wanted to. So he just abruptly resigns because Rafael Washington could no longer protect him from the union. All the union wants is adherence to their contract. That's all they want. Nothing more, nothing less. But that's the monster that Sheriff Rafael Washington is. And remember, he has to run for sheriff next year. So make sure that he doesn't get it. Let somebody else get in that sheriff's seat that's going to take care of business. Now, moving on. My second issue I'm going to talk about is guns in the community. As you know, we got people not securing their weapons. Children are being shot because why? You know, in a certain way, kids are stupid, but kids are like cars. The adults and mature people, you have to grab the steering wheel of your child, which is your car, and you have to steer them in the right direction. Kids get into stuff. That's what they do. When I was growing up, my grandparents call it y'all in there rambling, you know, looking, going into things you don't have no business going into. And that's what kids do. When the cat's away, the mice will play. If adults would take care of their guns like they took care of their cell phones, would not one single child be shot with an unsecured weapon. But people are not conditioned to carry firearms like they take care of their phones. A person phone. But if you're not conditioned to carry a gun 24/7, you're going to forget about it. And that's where you end up with having guns left in bathrooms, guns being left in parks on picnic tables, in cars in plain view, because they're not conditioned to carry these guns. And the end result is a child being hurt because when a bullet leaves the barrel, it's not coming back. It's not coming back. And you just better hope that if you do have one of those situations where a child gets a gun and it goes off, you can rest assured you'd be lucky as hell if nobody got hurt. But it seems like kids get a hold of guns, and because of TV, what they want to do is do this. They want to point the barrel at another human being. And I don't. TV has really messed these kids up, you know. So you got to secure your gun. Having a CPL license is serious business, and there's a lot of things that could prohibit people from carrying guns. Just like if you got 2 suspensions on your driver's license, your CPL license is voided. A lot of people don't know that. If you have an alcohol conviction on your license, you can't own or possess a CPL license for 8 years. The same thing with having 2 suspensions, unless you can get one of those suspensions lifted off your license to allow you to carry a gun. You know, you can get in a whole lot of trouble with that piece of metal. And these guns out here, people are allowing people to be around them who can't legally carry guns. And if adults want to blow their toes off and stuff like that, go ahead and do that. But don't put the children in the middle of grown folks' mess just because you don't know how to secure your weapon. And quite frankly, I think the penalties need to be a lot more severe. People having unsecured guns around kids. I mean, it happened on a Monday. It happens again on I mean, the Detroit police chief, James White, was literally in tears when he was describing what happened to another child. He can't even get on TV no more. He has to have his assistant chief speak about children being harmed with guns because citizens are not listening. In the emotional and caring man that he is, he has to get somebody else to speak on it for a while. And I just hope that the prosecutor's office and the state of Michigan get these guns, these non-caring adults with these guns under control. Okay. Now moving on to the last thing that I'm gonna discuss with you, and it's something that is really troubling our Black community. It involves our behavior, and it also involves the behavior of the police as well. And this is something that needs to get under control. And like I said, I'm not an attorney, but I do know what I'm talking about. And it is when people are under arrest. Okay, there's a lot of ways a person can be arrested, because the standard for an arrest is not that high. A lot of times, if you walked up to a police officer and asked the police officer, what is the standard for an arrest? Most officers don't know. They should know, but they don't know because they just don't think about it on a regular basis. And it's a certain level of ignorance on their part. And it's a lot of ignorance on the part of the public if you do not submit to an arrest. Now, hear me out. As you know, I spent over 30 years as a police officer, and I've arrested a lot of people in my career as an officer for a variety of things: drunk driving, um, you know, disorderly conduct, a whole litany of things. And but one thing that the public needs to know is when you are under arrest, it does not mean that you're being found guilty of anything. It does not mean that you are going to be you're going to have a criminal record. A lot of people get arrested and turn around and get let go. A lot of people get arrested, get taken to the police station, and you end up getting let go with a ticket. Resisting arrest is a felony in the state of Michigan. That's the last thing you want to do. The law says you cannot resist an arrest, even if you feel that the arrest is unlawful. Your recourse is to sue. If you want to fight an arrest, submit to the arrest and hire a lawyer. Let your attorney fight for you. That's the best way that you can fight an arrest, because fighting and resisting an arrest never turns out well for you. Never. Hire a lawyer and let a lawyer fight for you. So many times people feel that just because they got this resistive behavior, they looking at these civil activist groups in the community, doing the marches and stuff. But if you've been under arrest, if you've been arrested for something, just submit to the arrest. More likely than not, you're going to get released. If you're not the party involved or you're not the subject of an investigation, you're going to be released. You can be arrested. Probable cause is the standard. The law enforcement doesn't have to absolutely know that you did something. If a person was hit and the officer shows up, officer, that person hit me. That's the officer's probable cause to place you under arrest and find out what's going on. Submit to the arrest. Talk to the officers if you want to. You don't have to. You can exercise your Fifth Amendment. But even when you go down to the station, sometimes a supervisor will show up and say, take the cuffs off of him. He didn't have nothing to do with that. But don't resist, because when you resist, it's a felony to resist. And sometimes based on your level of resistance, it could escalate to serious injury or death on your part, because the law says you cannot resist. You have to submit to the arrest, even if you feel that the arrest is unlawful. When I first became a police officer, resisting arrest was a misdemeanor. But somehow the legislature, during the summer session, they finally got their heads out of their backsides and realized that they can't have people resisting all over the place, because the officers, by their training, are required to go one step level of force above your level of force and resistance to get you in custody and get you under arrest. So just submit to the arrest, let everybody find out what's going on, and it's done. All right. Now, that's on the citizen side. On the police side of the fence, I'm going to say this. A lot of police officers have badge muscles, you know, badge muscles. It just comes with the job. There's a certain level of entitlement and there's a certain level of arrogance of being a police officer because police officers have the power of detainment. They have the powers of arrest. They have the ability to use force, up to deadly force, to protect themselves and to protect others from serious injury or death. But all too often, a lot of things get blown out of proportion because police officers are out here arresting people and so-called detaining people without telling people what they're under arrest for. And when I was a union steward, I used to always advise my talking to the officers in the community, advise a person they are under arrest. You know, officers go out, talk to somebody, they feel like things are not right, or so they know somebody did something, they got credible information, they come in contact with that person. You're under arrest. Police officers, when you are advise somebody that they're under arrest, that covers you frontwards, backwards, and sideways. It protects your backside and it protects your agency's backside too. So the officers have to do what they supposed to do. So that way, when you advise a person that they under arrest, they really don't have a right to resist. The only time that a police officer really doesn't have to tell you that you under arrest is if they show up to a situation and the situation went from 0 to 10. So that's why police officers wear uniforms with their badges, their name tag, their shoulder patches on each shoulder, so you know who they are. So citizens, you can't say you didn't know he was a police officer because you can look at the uniform, you can look at the police car with the big rolling billboard on both sides. So the citizens have to do what they have to do, and the police have to do what they're supposed to do too. But stop all this resisting. Just submit to the arrest, go to the station, talk to the supervisors. More than likely, the supervisor's gonna come to you because I can guarantee you this: the last thing police officers want to be doing is a bunch of reports for BS. All right. Now, like I said, I'm not an attorney, but I know what I'm talking about in this regard because officers, you have to advise people they under arrest. It'll stop a lot of confusion, you know, and citizens stop resisting. It doesn't make any sense. And everybody will be safer on both sides of that fence. So this is the wood dog, and I'm just keeping it real. And I want to thank all of you for listening and uh, and get the skinny and just get it out there. Thank you, and thank you again from the Wood Dog. Peace.